Hi, guys, and welcome to Vegan Booty Talks. I have a guest with me today, a founder of Want to Save Many nonprofit organization that gives 100% profit to animals. Vegan bodybuilder entrepreneur Brent Hagood. Hi, how are you?
Hello. Hi, Avrora. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so glad to finally meet you. You know,
Likewise.
seeing you on social media and enjoying your brand and what you do.
Thank
And
you.
then now I finally have a chance to talk to you and then to share my experience with your brand and with whatever you do with my followers. But
Thank you.
before we get started, just let everyone know a little bit more about you. So where you're from and what do you do for a living right now?
Okay, so I live in Canton, Michigan, which is sadly getting really miserable right now. We just lost our sunshine. It's getting cold and it's about to snow soon.
Oh.
I am a vegan bodybuilder. I'm the founder of One to Save Many. Those are the things that I'm most passionate about. But outside of that, I'm actually a tool manufacturer and a tool distributor. I have a couple small companies here in Plymouth, Michigan, manufacturing and selling specialty tools.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering what else you do. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. So when this note, how you heck of get into the vegan bodybuilding from that kind of a little bit different lifestyle?
Well, I mean, I'm almost 50 years old and I've been lifting
No
weights for
way. Oh my
oh,
God. Okay, guys, if
oh,
you only
you're my
listen to
favorite
that,
person now. Thank you.
if you only listen to that, go on my YouTube and watch the video. You look so good. Oh my God.
Oh, thank you
I
so
cannot
much.
believe.
You just made my year. Thank you. It must be the
Okay.
way.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry.
No,
Continue.
no. So 30 years ago, I started lifting weights. About 15 years into that, I started a vegetarian diet. And about 10 years into that, I switched over to a vegan lifestyle and still continuing to lift weights. And on that path, I started to have, I don't know, complications. Probably anybody that's, into bodybuilding or for aesthetics or for competing, they know that they hit plateaus, and I hit a plateau. And I was introduced to our friend John Thomas, the bodybuilding vegan, who kind of like really put me on the path to a learning, of the actual vegan bodybuilding. How to lift weights as a bodybuilder, how to like eat as a bodybuilder, how to transform your body as a bodybuilder. And so for the
Mm.
past several years, I've been focusing on that.
Wow. So John was on my podcast, guys. If you didn't listen to that episode, go ahead and find that. It was just recently, about 2 months ago. But how did you met and or found John in the social media, or how you guys get met?
Yeah, and Instagram. Like
Oh.
I feel like all my favorite vegan people I've met on Instagram. I started following John, and if you know John, he's just insanely strong, and I was always just blown away at his level of strength as a vegan. So I just, had started communicating with him, over direct messaging and asking him questions. And probably after about a year and a half of, talking to him, like I asked if he'd take me on as a client. So, and then
Nice.
that evolved into a very close friendship, and he's an integral part of One to Save Many. One to Save Many wouldn't be where it's at today without him. So he's involved in a lot of areas of my life now.
Wow, that's so cool. So you wasn't vegan at that time when you started to thinking about your, plant-based bodybuilding.
I actually was, long before I met John. I mean, I was still very interested in health and fitness and lifting, but I just I didn't really know what I was doing. Like, I was kind of playing with macros and playing with different diets and trying to get my body fat percentage down and trying to build muscle. And I mean, I just didn't know enough about what I was doing. And then when I met John, he put me on a program. Like, he set my macros, he, set exactly what I should be eating. He had me taking progress pictures, which was like something I never wanted to do. But I did that, and that made all the difference in the world because I had been focusing on the scale. I was getting DEXA scans every month, like obsessing over my body fat versus
Mhm.
my muscle. And like he just said, throw all that out the window. Just let's focus on your progress
Yeah,
pics
exactly
every
same.
week. And I mean
Mhm.
that in itself like was a big game changer. But yeah, he gave me all the tools that I needed to get put on the right path.
Yeah, we were similar with John, but you know what? I want to ask you, what is get you inspired to actually hire a coach? Because, as a John, as me, as online coaches, it's really hard sometimes to be able to find the clients who actually ready to invest, not only financially, but actually physically and mentally into the coaching. And
Yeah.
you seems to me the person who actually like that. So what inspired you to hire a coach and to invest in yourself?
Well, if I'm being completely honest, I was bullied as a kid. So I think like somewhere, deep down inside of me that, I'm still trying to prove to the world that, I'm not that kid that was bullied. And in other conversations that I've had with John, I feel like that's pretty common. Like I feel like a lot of the people that are really serious about bodybuilding and the people that are serious in the gym, and I'll say serious about any type of growth in life, a lot of them have faced some form of, either bullying or trauma or something like that that just, creates that fire in their stomach to just, push a little harder than the average person. So for me,
Yeah.
I would say, that's, I sadly, a lot of days I like the guy I see in the mirror, but there are days I don't. And I feel like, that kind of, makes me like work a little harder in the gym, trying to, see the person I want to see.
Yeah, totally get that. I
Yeah.
went through the same thing. And then a lot of my clients and friends are like that too. And I
Yeah.
think honestly, like it's gonna be really hard to find person that I met in my life that never been experienced something like that. We all kind of have that battle of love hate ourselves, and I don't really know anyone who are truly in love with themselves and then never even wake up with the thought like, oh, I hate myself, I don't like how I look like, or I don't like what I did or what I said. So it's totally normal, and I like that you use that as a motivation to get better instead of like, judging yourself and then just not doing anything to get better, and more likely go in the other hole of, for example, going through alcohol or some drugs addictions that, a lot of people deal with when they have any emotional problems. So that's amazing. And thank you so much for sharing that. And I think it's going to inspire so many people out there. But in the same time, what I want to mention here, instead of doing it by yourself, I mean, you try by yourself, but you
Yeah.
hire someone professional who can help you to actually make the right steps. That's such a great example.
Yeah. I would say that is probably, I mean, outside of John being an amazing guy, and him becoming such a, a important part of my life, like getting a coach was one of the best decisions that I made ever. I feel like, for 20 some years, I've been lifting weights. So
Mhm.
I know just about all the exercises. I know the basics of bodybuilding. Like, I know, all the basics of that, but having somebody that's holding you accountable, like my workouts changed, like knowing when I was in the gym that I had to report back to, John and tell him like, what I did or send him videos or know that he was going to be seeing my progress pictures. Just that accountability just made such a huge difference in my progress in the gym. It's unbelievable the difference it made.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
every
highly
coach,
recommend a coach.
yeah, yeah, and every coach need a coach. That's the thing. Even if you're
Yeah.
a coach, like I
Yes.
always say to my clients, don't you think I don't have a coach? Like it's like impossible. It's really hard to do it yourself. And then there's a periods in my life that I do it myself. But honestly, when I am competing, when I get in super serious, I also hire a coach. You need someone. It's not about, being super smart and knowing everything. Obviously, like all the information you can find on the internet, but that's not working that way. Like you need someone to hold your hand to keep you accountable on your journey. And that's, yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's
And
such
the
a
other
good
thing I'll
piece.
mention too is that as long as I have worked out and all the exercises and everything that I knew how to do, having somebody else watch me do it you know, you doing it yourself feels one way, but having like somebody else objective watching you lift the weights and say, you're going too fast, or you're going too slow, or you need to pause at the top, or like have somebody like actually see things from a different perspective than what you can see and correct what you're doing. I feel like no matter how good you are, it like, and how much you know, having somebody else with an objective view and everything. I mean, the way you look, you know, your body fat percentage, you know, like your body composition, like that objective view makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's so good. Thank you. And then now I want to be a bad advocate and then ask you, okay, but why vegan? So many people want to get to bodybuilding, want to get in shape, but they never like thinking to get that done on plant-based diet. It's
Yeah.
obviously are not the easiest round. So why vegan?
I have like kind of like a weird haphazard way of becoming vegan. S- um, 6.5, 7 years ago, I decided that when I was vegetarian, I decided to go keto, which in itself is crazy. If you think about it, you know, keto is a meat eater and diet, and I'm doing as a
I
vegetarian.
don't really like keto, to be honest. Yeah,
No,
from nutrition perspective, this
yeah,
is almost insane.
don't judge me. I'm with you now, but back then I was trying to lose weight, and I thought that's what I needed to do
No,
was
no,
to.
I don't judge anyone diet. Don't worry.
Okay, so I started down the path of, you know, and about a year into doing vegetarian keto, I just got sick of like the eggs and cheese, because really that was the only thing that I was eating. Animal products was eggs and cheese, and I just decided to, you know, take the challenge to see if I could do it as a vegan. You know, because I had vegan friends at the time, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to see if I can do this. And at that time, like I thought, like dairy cows and like farms and everything were happy places. Like I had no idea like how evil the dairy industry was back then. So I was actually just doing it to see if I could. After I became vegan, that's when I kind of started figuring out about like how cruel the dairy industry is. But that's how I became vegan. So like then I continued on doing vegan keto for probably like another 9 months to a year, and then I finally started eating carbs again. And
Oh,
you're
wow.
right, keto's horrible. Like it was so hard on my body, like so hard on my mind. Like the way that I felt when I started eating carbs again was made all the difference. And back to like, you know, meeting somebody like John, you know, that could, you know, tell me the proper foods and the macros and whatnot. Like that is, I feel like that's when my everything like really started to take off as far as energy levels, nutrition, muscle growth, things like that.
Yeah, I totally like, feel you. I wasn't in the same shoes. I never tried keto since God, but I have so many people coming to me who tried keto. Some of them even try keto plant-based, and that's kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
You get
It's
like
really
five
hard.
ingredients, and you just cook those 5 ingredients every night
Yeah.
over and over again in different ways.
Yeah, and that's kind of really crazy. But I mean, it's possible. It's better than a regular keto, but yeah, it's just crazy because in the end of the day, if you are keep eating the same foods over and over, your body can get sensitive to others. And that's going to be a problem when you actually will stop that diet because you cannot hold that forever. It's almost impossible. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's can
The
be.
silver lining, I will say this, the silver lining, I was on keto, vegetarian, vegan combined for over 2 years. When I did go back to eating food had never tasted so good in my life. Like the
True.
first day I was off keto, like I ate like 5 apples. I couldn't believe how good an apple tastes. So this like reset my taste buds. So that was the silver lining to
Yeah.
it.
I feel you. That's the same happen when some of my girls compete, right? And then like, that first apple or whatever after competing, it just tastes so good.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is actually, I do learn nutrition from the science perspective and then from psychology. The funny thing is just a lot of research shows that those first bites, that's what's matter.
Yeah.
So let's say you're craving a cheesecake and then you take the spoon and then you got that first bite of your vegan cheesecake and then you're like, oh my god, that was so good. And then after that, researchers shows that like your brain is tricking you to trying to taste that first bite again.
Right.
You
Everything's
finish
downhill
the
after
Yeah, so
that.
you finish the whole cake or maybe the whole piece by just trying to felt that the same first bite expression, that's first bite emotion, but it's never gonna be the same. So that's the tricky part, you know what I mean? Like we only sometimes need the one bite or two bites of first, taste.
That's a great tool, actually. I've never heard that before, but it does make sense, and I'm going to try to use that next time I open a pint of ice cream, because I have a tendency to knock off a pint of ice cream every time I open one. So I'm going to remember you said that.
Yes, yes. So sometimes you just need two spoons and you're like, okay, I satisfied my
Yeah,
craving, and that's what I was need. And if I finish the whole, bottle or whatever you have of ice cream, it's never gonna be like that first spoon. It's never gonna be like that until tomorrow.
yeah. I have a really bad sweet tooth, so that is really hard for me.
Well, I cannot tell because you look amazing.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
So you
You're
deal
so
with that.
kind. You told me I look good. You tell me, wow, tell me I look young.
I'm not lying. I'm not lying. And my followers will come to see that, and then they will comment
Uh,
down below, I'm sure. Anyways, let's get into the brand that you created, which is inspiring and so cool. So how the idea of nonprofit organization that are give 100% of profit to animals is came to your mind, and then how do you realize that?
so May of last year, a friend and I were doing this pay it forward thing for like we'd go into a Starbucks and buy a pretty large gift card, and we'd tell them just give it to people that look like they're having a bad day. So like so people randomly going into a Starbucks would get a free cup of coffee off this gift card, and that pay it forward idea just kind of in my head kept evolving into a way to do it for animals, a way to do a pay it
Mhm.
forward for animals. So I had made 100 t-shirts similar to the one that you're wearing there, the V-Gains design. And we
This is
sent,
cool. I love it.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's the original design right there, the V-Gain shirt. And we sent 100 of them all across the world, like not just here in the US, but we sent them everywhere. And people got them for free. And they were like vegans that I knew on Instagram. And all I did was ask them to donate money to their local charity, whatever they thought the shirt was worth. And people were so excited about it. Like, people who have never donated to charities, because that was like a big part of it for me, is I know that there's a lot of, vegans out there that love animals, but, either for financial reasons, or they just don't think of it, like don't donate money to charities. And this was an opportunity to show those people how good it could feel to donate to charities. So that was kind of like the start of this, was the free t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
So popular that I had started an Etsy store, trying to simplify that, because trying to manage sending 100 shirts to 100 different people and different colors and different sizes across the world was like super complicated. So I opened a store on Etsy, and that platform wasn't working for me. So I had started one2savemany.com, and that was kind of like the really the birth of One to Save Many. At that point was, it started with the V-Gain shirt that you're wearing, and then more designs came, more products came, and then just a month ago we actually became an official 501c3, which is like a huge for us. So that's super exciting. But
That's
yeah, that's
cool.
that's how it
Wow.
that's how it started.
So how long you have that company for now?
Um, well, it started in basically June of last year. So what is that? 16 months, about
Wow, so
16 months now.
short. And then you're
Yeah.
just so popular. Like I see so many of my friends, my clients, like everyone wear your t-shirts. That's so
Oh, that makes me
cool.
so happy. Thank you.
That's great. Yeah. So if anyone wanted to buy the t-shirt, like how would that work right now? If they buy it, all they pay is goes to animal support, or how that work?
So they can go to, so there's actually, they can purchase products directly through Instagram. There's an Instagram store, or they can go to one2savemany.com. We ship worldwide, free shipping over $50 to the US. International is expensive, so it's $150, but we still do free shipping over $150 international. So, but what happens is when somebody buys a product on the website, 100% of the profit goes to animal charities that are charities that help animals. So it's kind of like it's not just sanctuaries. We have like um, Humane Society. We have Veg Michigan is one I mention a lot, which is like one that's kind of close to my heart. They aren't like necessarily an animal charity, but what they do is they go to schools, colleges, and they offer free plant-based food, trying to get people to convert over to a plant-based diet. So even though they're not really an animal charity, the results of what they do largely impacts animals. So basically any kind of charity that helps animals is where the money goes to.
That's so cool. Why do you think it's so important to spread out the plant-based diet style, like the plant-based lifestyle, and then save the animals?
Well, I mean, to me, I mean, factory farming's horrible. Just like that in itself is the thing that probably keeps me up at night. But I mean, but then the health side of it too. I mean, we live in a society that just everything's bad. Like, food in restaurants is bad. Like, fast food's bad. Like all the products which are highlighted in grocery stores are bad. It's like we have you know, plant-based diets can probably solve the majority of the health issues that we have. So, I mean, there's just so many benefits to animals, to health, to the planet. Like, it's only good things come from a plant-based diet. So, but for me, to answer your question, I mean, the animals are always top of my list.
Yeah. And then when you switch to completely plant-based diet, what the changes that you feel in your body, in your mind, in your recovery, in your performance? Can you share that with us?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a long time ago. I mean, it's like, 15 years ago, but like the things that I probably remember the most when
Come on, I don't eat meat from I was 9, so not as long, okay?
I like I the first word that comes to my mind is later. I feel like looking back when I ate meat, I always felt like I needed time to digest my food before I could like get up and move around and just go back to what I was doing. On a plant-based diet, I never felt like that. I could literally eat a plant-based meal and go to the gym right after and feel fine. um, Energy levels. I used to have like really bad brain fog. I feel like a lot of my brain fog, stopped when I switched over to a plant-based diet. I used to break out a little bit more, like, zits on my arms and things like that. That all disappeared when I switched over to a plant-based diet. So, I mean, it's a lot of little things. And even now, as I switched to more whole foods plant-based, because, I wasn't always whole foods. I used to eat a lot of ultra processed plant-based food. Now I try to focus more on whole foods. And the more I focus on whole foods, the better I feel. So I feel like I'm still learning benefits of the plant-based diet. I'm constantly reading books, hiring specialists and people to help me with my diet. I'll probably be trying to figure it out for the rest of my life, but it definitely, the impact of it is huge.
Yeah, of course. We always keep studying, and it's so much products and things that coming up out there, which are amazing. I'm so happy to see those too. Like a
Yeah.
lot of plant-based alternatives coming out, but I'm
Yes.
absolutely on the same page with you as a nutritionist, focusing on plant-based whole foods. That's the
Yes.
thing. Because all those products that are in supermarkets, especially in their refrigerator section, there is amazing steps in your plant-based journey to switch from some meat alternatives or dairy. But at the end of the day, you just have to eat whole plant-based foods in order to feel great, live longer lives, and recover properly. And that's like my main goal as a nutritionist, to help people to understand that, because like you can find anything nowadays. It
Yeah.
wasn't the case when I started my plant-based journey, and I'm so glad about that, because I think I wouldn't be so smart with whole plant-based options if there were out there like those alternatives. Like last time I was in a Whole Food, and oh my God, Whole Food doesn't pay me actually for promotion. Just a side note. And then I found like a vegan eggs, like a whole, like a whole egg, like
Yeah.
cut on the side. And
Wow.
it
I haven't
looks
seen
like
those.
real egg. I found that in refrigerators. It looked like a real egg. Like it has a yellow thing inside and it's a white outside, and
Wow.
it's like vegan from soy. And I'm like, what? I
So
didn't buy it,
clever.
honestly, because the price was like too high. And I was like, that's just fake egg. Why would I need it? But yeah,
Well, I
like
mean,
it's
I have to
crazy.
imagine too that like it's hard to make the transition from being non-plant based to plant based. Like so jumping from eating a conventional American diet to whole foods is like hard for probably most people. So I have to imagine like a lot of those foods we see in there are good stepping stones to get to the whole foods
Yeah, exactly.
diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my point, but you shouldn't stop there, guys. So if anyone listen to our conversation, I just encourage you to add more whole plant-based options. They are cheaper. That's the first thing, because a lot of the time there's a misconception that the plant-based diet are super expensive. And it can be if you always buy, those processed meat alternatives, because those are on the higher end of, prices, right?
Yeah.
But if you stick to the plant-based whole foods like beans and legumes, some vegetables, some greens, you're not gonna like feel that it's anywhere expensive than the standard American diet. I would say it's actually cheaper, even if you live in this expensive state like me, like Hawaii. So if you are like think to switch to the plant-based diet and it's super expensive and you think you cannot afford that, you can. You may even save some money, especially if you like to eat out, because
Yeah.
eating out on a plant-based diet is not easy. So
Yeah.
sometimes you can save a couple bucks just to not eating in the restaurant because you're like, I don't have an option in here, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's and I don't know how it is there, but it's also harder to find places to eat out around here.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting better, I'm sure, in
Yeah.
every state, and in my state, Hawaii, as well. But in the end of the day, I just have super high standards as a nutritionist. It's just
Oh,
not
I
like
bet.
I just not like satisfied with only a salad without any meat or protein in
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? Because you can come in any restaurant and they can offer you a salad without anything. Basically, usually if it's not fast food, they do have some greens, but that's not the complete meal. So I better just wait and eat at home than just,
Yep.
pay for a bunch of unfresh, usually, unfortunately, greens. So yeah, I'm just not easy to be pleased.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Around we have a couple vegan restaurants in about a half an hour drive here, but majority of restaurants around here, our option is an Impossible Burger, and that's like you said.
Yeah.
It's good if you're starving and you have no other options, but I mean, the Impossible Burgers aren't the healthiest.
Oh my God, yes. And then again, we don't want to get into the discussion like to not promoting some brands. I'm not saying that the brand is bad, but I just wanted to throw out there, since you touched that Impossible Burger and Beyond Burger are one of the worst burgers on the plant-based side from
Yeah.
the nutrition perspective. They actually have high saturated fats, which is crazy because it's a plant-based food. And then you may think that it's not supposed to have saturated fat, but it does. And it's because they add a lot of coconut oil in there, and sometimes even canola oil, which is absolutely not good for you. It's never get out from your body. It's actually stay there for so long. So I wouldn't suggest those, guys. If you don't have an option and you want to eat that once a month, please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah.
But don't put those as your staples in everyday meals, because that's, maybe, I wouldn't say it's going to be the same harm as for meat from animals, but it's not going to be as beneficial as, just the whole plant-based foods. And you can get burger, you can make burger at home from
Yeah.
mushrooms, lentils, and chickpeas. Like, it's super easy. I have a bunch of recipes about that. So in that note, I want to ask you, what was the challenges that you face when you switched to a completely plant-based diet? And then maybe you can share how you overcome those.
Wow. Well, when I switched over to vegetarian, I feel like I ate out a lot more. Like I feel like back then, I was working a lot and didn't have a whole lot of time. So like I'd be running up to restaurants and getting carry out and stuff. So at that time, I feel like the difficult part was like finding vegetarian options on a menu. I mean, now it'd be a piece of cake. Like I can do it as a vegan, doing it as a vegetarian would be easy. But back then, going from a normal diet to like vegetarian, that was difficult. But once I started like cooking at home, like I learned to cook at home. It wasn't too bad. I feel like the internet makes it really easy to like find recipes for food that you like and switch it over. Plus these days with there being so many, meat alternatives and cheese alternatives, like I feel like it's really, I don't want to say it's not hard, but it's definitely easier than it was.
Yeah, I think the educational like side of this is a lot. Like you have to educate yourself. You just have to do your research to know your alternatives.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a lot of my like friends, my customers have trouble traveling and eating plant-based. Like they
Yeah.
say, oh, I can go vegan, but when I travel, it's impossible. I travel so much, to be honest, like, and I don't eat meat from I was 9, and I completely vegan for 8 years for now. I travel almost every month somewhere, and I travel from Hawaii, so it's not like a short flight. And honestly, I never get trouble.
Yeah.
So you may have a trouble to find, as I said, a protein sources, right? So you have to either be ready with some protein bars in your packet, some
Yeah.
nuts, some lupini beans, some dry edamame or something like that, or you just can get everything without protein anywhere. Like take cheese out, take some chicken or whatever was there out, and eat that dish. You'll be fine. And then I actually created, on that note, I created a guide, travel guide, for
That's a good
vegans.
idea.
If anyone need that, just guys, reach me out. I didn't post that yet because I just did it for my clients, because a lot of them was asking like, well, I'll travel and I'm in an airport or somewhere in a restaurant, and there's not a lot of option. I would say there's a story. Once I was in Los Angeles and I was having a transfer. So I didn't have a time to get out from the airport. So I need to find something in airport. And I was walking around the gate when I was, having my transfer. And the only thing I could find, it was a smoothie bar. So I didn't have the proper meal, but a smoothie bar, right? You can
Yeah, that's
add the
still good.
smoothie. Yeah,
Yeah.
even the juice. It's good. You're not gonna die from like starving. So I think it's more like a mentally, and more like I would say a little, excuse to go completely plant-based, because you may think it's hard, but have you
You just
tried?
you just need to plan. You just need to plan ahead. It's like it's not like when you're meat based and you can just go and like wing it. You kind of have to plan a little bit ahead.
Yeah, but even if you're meat-based, I would say if you want to eat healthy, you have to plan ahead too.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah, so it's kind of same. Okay, I feel like I want to talk to you forever, but we need to, come close to the end. So we already found where we can buy your t-shirts, and that's amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. And I will add those links in the description down below. But if anyone wanted to get in touch with you or to know you better, how they can find you.
So I'm on Instagram as well, at Brent. And if you send a contact or contact us on one2savemany.com, you can get to me through that way as well.
Nice. Okay, yeah, I will add that in the description down below, guys, too, so you can easily find Brad and then talk to you about anything, right?
Yes.
Plant-based, and ask any questions. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for today's
Thanks,
conversation.
Avrora. So nice chatting with you.
Yeah, me too. If you ever
Thank you
gonna
for all
be
the
in
wonderful
Hawaii.
compliments.
Oh, no, no, that's all true. I'm Ukrainian. I never lie about those things. I'm not. So if you anywhere gonna be in Hawaii, please let me know. I'm gonna be happy to meet you.
Oh, hopefully
And,
someday. I still have
yeah,
never been there.
I think we should do some type of like a giveaway or something about t-shirt. You know
I
what I
love that
mean?
idea. Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, we can do it on my Instagram. So stay tuned, guys, if you wanted to want a t-shirt from Want to Save Many. And I love the name. It's so cool. Like, I should ask you, how will you, come with that name?
Um, there's a quote that I like: one to save a few to save many, many to save the world. All starts with one. So when I named the company, I
Oh,
based it on my favorite quote.
that's so nice. Wow.
Thank you.
Such a good quote. I love that.
Thank
I
you. It's
love
on
it.
some of the shirts. Some of the shirts have the quote on it as well.
Yes, I love that quote. Thank you for sharing that. This is touching my heart so
Oh,
deeply, because it's so much war, out there, not, so we can save not only animals, we can save people with this message. Thank
yes.
you so much for sharing. Okay, thank you. And if you want to say anything before you go, please go ahead and do so.
No, I pretty much said everything that I could. I just want to thank you for having me on here and also for representing One to Save Many, wearing your vegan shirt there. And hopefully some of your viewers will come to the website and help save some animals.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Thank you so much for today's conversation and have an amazing rest of your day. Bye
You
bye.
too.